Yo fellas, this is theirs BPB and Digimon is back this year with my favorite season in Frontiers. So there's a new game called Digimon Storytime Stranger and new enemy Digimon Adventure Beyond and Digimon Beat Break. So I'm very hyped for it. I really enjoyed watching Frontiers in the past because its unique take on the Digimons and Digivolution. The stakes are higher as the main characters, aka human teens, are using their Digivices to become strong Digimons themselves, instead of relying on their cute toddler companion mons. So if the humans were to die in the Digiworld, they would also die in the real world too. There are no safety nets for Takuya and gang, and they are constantly forced to fight enemies and face serious threats to their lives, other mons, the digital world, which will eventually affect the real world severely. So in Season 4 Frontiers, Takuya and gang can digivolve into elemental type deities with superpowers. There are a couple of forms such as human, beast, hybrid, and hyper spirit compared to the traditional beast forms only in the previous 3 seasons of Digimon, except for Digimon Tamers, where the Tamers eventually fuse with their partner Digimons into becoming a stronger, unique Digimons. Okay, so for Season 4 Frontiers, the Digivolution scenes just keep getting better and better and more impressive as the series goes on, and with the empowering and upbeat music to go along with it. The opening and ending songs are super fire and emotional, and I really enjoy listening to them. The overall story and plot twists are much more interesting than before. Frontiers is definitely a darker and serious take for the Digimon World series. For the games, I really enjoyed Digimon World 1, which was the iconic monster raising game, and it is quite similar to Monster Rancher and Pokemon. And Digimon World Next Order is the upgraded version of Digimon World 1, aka DW1. I really dig the nostalgic and retro art style of DW1, and the combat mechanics, even though it was quite limited in certain ways. So basically in DW1, you are the better coach and you will get a partner Digimon that starts off as a rookie toddler, and eventually you will train and coach your mon to grow stronger and digivolve into a champion, and hopefully into an ultimate mon, so that you can fight harder battles and travel the Digimon world, where there are different terrains and places to recruit wild mons back to the city. Usually you will fight them and then you defeat them so that you can try to convince them to return to the city to increase the city's reputation. So your mon eventually will expire after a week or two, and in return you'll receive a Digi-Egg and start the process all over again with a new baby mon that will keep growing and digivolving. So instead of turn-based battles like in Final Fantasy or Pokemon, your partner mon will auto-battle, dodge, defend, use moves on their own. There is also even an ultimate move for each specific mon to fight multiple enemies at once. With high enough brain stat, your mon can learn new moves and allow you to control its next action and even decide what specific move to use next. You will enter various hard terrains and meet many aggressive and peaceful mons to progress the story and reach your goals in the digital world. There are a myriad of Digivolution options, and they each have their own specific requirements that must be met, and you can find them online. Unfortunately, DW1 is quite dated and not as advanced as the newer games like Next Order or Monster Rancher 4. So in DW1, you can only train one pet mon at a time, and the progress is quite time consuming and slow. Now let's talk about what Pokemon has over Digimon. Pokemon has a competitive scene, and players are allowed to transfer their older generation mons to newer generation current games. For competitive or trading users, kind of like New Game Plus, which will make older generation games such as Pokemon Crystal, Soul Silver more relevant instead of being outdated. Also in Pokemon, you can hold up to a maximum of 6 mons with you in Pokeballs in public and store a great amount of unused mons in your PC, unlike in Digimon. Pokemon, however, lacks the real-time action combat mechanics of Path of Exile or Diablo. What I dislike about Pokemon is that both the fighting mons get to move once each turn, even if one has much more speed than the other. Let's say your Pokemon has 300 speed, while the opponent Pokemon has 100 speed. Even though your Pokemon is 3 times as fast as your opponent, your Pokemon does not get to, let's say, use moves 3 times in the turn. And the only advantage is that your Pokemon will move first compared to your opponent. Yeah, so that is kind of lame. Alright, let's talk about what I like to see in future Digimon games or just normal games. Okay, I would like to see the players having the ability to control their mons so that it will be more like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, or it will be more like Pokemon Reloaded, where you can control your mons with WASD and use skills on a top-down combat shooter. Okay, number 2, customizable stats during level up, meaning that you get to choose what stats you want to increase in when you level up, instead of just some random stat up. Number 3, upgrade of weapons and armors with CD players, kind of like scrolls in MapleStory. Okay, number 4, I want to see ranged projectile collisions like in Dragon Ball Z, where ranged attacks can be countered, collided, deflected, or cancelled. Okay, very weird now. 2, 3, 4. Okay, 5. Number 5, more action hack and slash mechanics like in Devil May Cry. Number 6, longer lifespans for mons. Number 7, save mons for battles, kind of like in DW1, or maybe in like Pokemon where you can store your mons in your PC. Number 8, make the games multiplayer or MMO so that players can compete and fight each other, either in the region or globally in tournaments. Number 9, increase more interactions with your partner mons, such as spending more time with your partner. Maybe you can take your partner on a minecart roller coaster ride. Okay, number 10, optionally let the mons mate and create baby mons. Yeah, that would be cool. Kind of like in Pokemon. Okay, what I'd like to see retain in the next Digimon game, keep the graphics of Digimon World 1 and the future games, keep the graphics low for some benefits. Number 1, allow as many players to play the game as possible with low graphics requirement, so players don't have to spend all the money to buy graphics cards to keep up with the graphics demand, such as like in Kingdom Deliverance 2. Okay, the second benefit for keeping the graphics low is that it's nostalgic enough to bring back the old players who want to reminisce the good old times. Number 3, this allows the developers to quickly complete the graphics requirement and the art style, and so that they can focus more on other important stuff like improving game mechanics, strategies, and introducing newer mons and moves. Okay, let's talk about what other Digimon World games did wrong. So for the number 2, right, DW2. In DW2, it has super slow walking animations, conversations, and story. It's hard to catch new mons before you fight them. The traps are unforgiving, and leveling up mons are kind of pain in the rear with complex and slow combination mechanics. Turn-based combat is very boring and much worse than Pokemon. But the combat music is very nostalgic and upbeat. That's what I like about it. Now, let's talk about DW3. Okay, in DW3, there is 1v1 combat. However, you are allowed to have 3 mons with you at a time, so this is quite weird. DW1 already has combat with multiple enemies, so I don't understand why did they change that. Also, the mons and the digivolutions are more flexible and varied, which is a plus. However, I still prefer the DW1's combat mechanics of real-time auto battling with dodging, defending, and move control. Okay, another plus is that the story is quite good with some good plot twists and drama. Alright, let's talk about DW4. It has top-down action hack and slash elements. However, the controls are too rigid and the combat is simply terrible. The combat areas resemble those of DW2, and it feels like a simulation than being immersed in a different terrain, kinda like in DW1. This really makes the gameplay feel unnatural and immature. Mons now have weapons like swords, but they can only do basic slash attacks, and it doesn't relate to Digimon's natural combat moves, such as using their own physical claws or mouth, or creating their own range attacks. Yeah, that's all. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you are also hyped for the future of Digimon, and in this year and the next. Alright, so comment below, are you hyped for this? And what do you want to see in the next game or anime? Comment below. Thanks for watching, please like and sub for the posts, and I'll see you all next time. Adios.